The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Tastes just like candy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where a bunch of powerhouse women and a few brave dudes get together online to talk about love, sex, relationships, and what it means to be amazing on the daily. And who I am Candice Harper, lovecoach.com. I teach and inspire audacious intimacy to powerful, professional, grown women who want real relationships from seductive singlehoods. And more importantly, I help hardworking women who have survived abuse become vibrant, alive, magnetic, and passionate so they can easily recognize and create healthy relationships. I see Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer just joined. What's up, honey? I'm glad you're here. Tonight, I am coming to you from uptown. I'm at home. And so you might hear a little traffic going around. You know, I live with a beagle. I got a couple housemates. And you know how we do. It's very casual. We just sit back and enjoy ourselves. And it's kind of a check-in show, kind of sort of like an update. Like I want to update you guys on some things, make some big announcements. Maybe we'll be asking some questions. Tonight's show is big dreams, big questions, and big announcements. So I decided to take a little breather before I go on to the next format, because initially what I was talking about is the possibility of just sort of being a traveling podcaster and going around and interviewing experts. And those of you who've been listening to the show, you know that I just, find people, come up with a topic, and, we sit down together. And my new thing now is, experts who want to be guests, who want to talk about love, sex, relationships, being amazing, and have a good Wi-Fi connection, and, want to sit down and have a great conversation. So that is what I'm going to be doing through the spring and the summer. But this show is really about taking a breather, sort of recalibrating. I had two possible guests that I was going to have on this week. They both canceled at the last minute, which, no hard feelings, but I'm a big person about following through with your word and things like that. So I just decided, rather than keep pushing and making sure to have a guest and all of that stuff, it's time to just kind of catch up with everybody. Those of you who are normally listening, and those of you, hopefully you'll be trickling in on the Facebook, you know that I switched to the business page. So I know for some people, they're trying to make the migration over to the business page. Even remember that we're over here. We're no longer on my timeline, but now that I'm talking about that, I guess what I should be doing is sharing. So if you're out in the listening world and you want to share the link, or I know Jennifer, you're on right now. If you feel free, honey, if you want to share the link right now, I am about to share us over on my timeline. Let me do that real quick. And and also in the group, we want to share in the Creative Love Collective. If you're on Facebook Live, you know that you should join my group, the Creative Love Collective, and you can also join Armed Radio Group News. And so, the other thing is, if you are a lifestyle badass, a therapist, a coach, etc., this spring I will come to you. And all you need, like I said, all you need is a Wi-Fi connection and a place to plug in and a problem-solving message to offer to the world. And we'll have a great interview and we'll have a conversation. So happy Monday, everybody. You might be on your TuneIn app on your smart device listening to Armed Radio, or you're in the garden at armedradioglobal.com. We're also on iHeartRadio. So if you have an Alexa, you can ask for Candy. Where else? Maybe you're live here on Facebook. If you're a streamer, there's Spotify and Spreaker that you can listen to the replays on, and also my business page, and like I said, the Creative Love Collective. It's crazy though, when you're trying to do all the sharing. Okay, now I've shared to the group. So if you've joined the Creative Love Collective, and Jennifer, you said you're going to share. Thank you, honey, for sharing on your page. I appreciate it. If you're listening on audio, during the course of the show, when I get to the big questions section, the big questions are questions that I'm asking you guys. So I am going to rely on you guys to participate in that way. And you guys know the call-in number is 1-800-508-5431. And those of you who do come in on the live, you know you can comment here on the live show and, talk to me and stuff like that. And also answer the questions. I very, very much expect you to answer the questions. What else? I'm sharing to the Armed Radio business page. If you know any pages, any timelines, any friends who want to be in the love and relationship conversation, definitely share the live link and share the audio links with them. And you can email me at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And, any comments you leave or any questions you leave, I can, answer those later. Jennifer says, done. Welcome. Thank you, my love, for sharing. I appreciate it. So like I said, I'm Candice Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. And my purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and others. And that is why this is a conversation, right? My Lee just joined. Welcome, honey. I'm so glad that you're here. That is why this is a conversation. We're not here to hand down a bunch of dating and relationship rules or rights and wrongs. We're not here to shame your love situation. Our only intention is to create audacious intimacy, seductive singlehoods, and healthy relationships. So tonight and every Monday night, we're going to do what we do, which is have conversations that engage, educate, and or enlighten all of us in the areas of love, sex, relationships, and vibrating high. And like I said, tonight's show is called Big Dreams, Big Questions, and Big Announcements. And that's what tonight is all about. The goal of this show is to get everybody in tune with their big dreams, everybody sharing and discovering support in the most unexpected places. So, I feel like those of you who do tune in regularly, you're all extremely supportive and loyal. And I often feel like when I have guests and when I was doing the happy hour, I can't necessarily interact with you as much as I'd like to. That's why I'm glad you're here, Jennifer. I'm glad that you're here because you get to experience the interaction. Hopefully some of our other regulars will trickle in once they realize we're on the business page and not on my personal page anymore. And so what I really wanted to do with this show is have it be a show where I ask questions and I'll answer them too, because I'm not going to ask you guys to do anything that I won't do. And they're kind of like vulnerable questions about big dreams, big thoughts, big, whatever, big fantasies, things that you'd like to create in your life, things that you'd like to create in your love life, those things that people don't necessarily normally ask you about, that you don't normally get to talk about. I was watching TED Talks, and I don't know about you, but I sort of sometimes go down into a spiral of TED Talks. I love TED Talks. Lee says, what's happening, lady? Not much, my love. Just doing the podcast, doing my thing, doing it on my own tonight. You know how I do. I'm glad that you're here, honey, because you're always like my unofficial co-host with the show. So yeah, I was watching TED Talks and I ran into one, and if you guys get a chance to see it, the woman, her name is Barbara Sher, S-C-H-E-R is her last name. So she did a really great it's like TEDx talk or whatever in Prague. And what she talks about is a personal growth sharing community that she was part of in the 70s and the 80s. Now she, went on to talk about what the group was about. And it sounded like it was like they would get together and talk about, their weekly problems and hash out all their emotional stuff and kind of support each other in that way. And, they had whatever growth therapy they were using to help each other. It sounded a little bit like AA, that sort of thing. But the interesting thing was that after all of the emotional healing stuff that they would do and the hashing out of everything, everybody got to a point where they were, meeting so often and, starting to experience their healing. And so they realized that they got to a point where they started actually wanting things once they were healed and feeling good, they wanted things like houses and jobs and careers and relationships and stuff like that. And that ended up being what the conversation was about. And so, they would share with each other, what are all the different things that we want? What do I want for myself? And, people would just stand up and share and, it would just be part of their normal weekly conversation. And, It could be about physical wellness. She said, like, that people would just talk about all the different things that they wanted. So when someone would share, she said what would happen is inevitably someone would share about what they wanted, and then someone else would share about some sort of resource that they had or some sort of service or connection that they could offer to help that person achieve whatever their goal was or whatever it was that they were saying that they wanted. So I thought that was a really cool thing, because the whole purpose of the TED Talk was talking about how powerful and how far we can go in a community as opposed to isolation. When we try to do things on our own, no matter what it is, if we say we want a healthy relationship, if we say we want a really great career, if we say we want to live, in a beautiful house, like all those things we might be able to manage to a certain degree, a certain level, but when you go a period of time and you don't have those things and you want those things, we're always way more powerful when we have help. What's up, Jeff? House walking. I told you guys I'm going to be hi to my housemates because they're cool people. Anyway, so when we have people around us that will help us collaborate, have ideas, be creative with us, we get a lot further than what we could do by ourselves and what we could do on our own. So basically what she was talking about was how it got to a point where anytime anybody would say something, somebody else had some sort of or some sort of offering or some sort of suggestion that, or some connection where they could actually support and help that person have what they want. So she gave an example of a woman in the group who said her biggest dream was to dance with Patrick Swayze. And this was after they'd been doing this for a while, like sharing their dreams and stuff like that. So her big dream was to dance with Patrick Swayze. And she stood up in front of the group and told them. And it just so happened that there was another woman, this was in the 80s, there was another woman there who was the granddaughter of a woman who owned a resort in the Berkshires. There goes the beagle. I don't know if you guys can hear him in the background. Who owned a resort in the Berkshires where Patrick Swayze would come and dance with people who were just there staying there. And she offered to have her come, and the woman got to, have her dream of dancing with Patrick Swayze. Granted, that's, whatever, one woman's 80s dream, but we all have those things, right? That, like, if we could do those things, we might not necessarily think that we can or think that we have an in, but if we could do those things, they might make us a little happier. They might, make us feel a little bit more successful, put us over the top in some way. Another really great story that she told on the TED Talk was about a guy who was in their group, and for the longest time he had a lot of different hardships and things like that, and he was kind of working through all of his stuff. And the biggest thing that he would say that he wanted was a relationship. He wanted a girlfriend, and she talks about how he was kind of like not, kind of a little bit of a socially inept guy, maybe not that physically attractive, but when he stood up and said that, the people in the group, he also, I think, was getting an apartment at the time. The people in the group decided to throw him a housewarming, and everybody committed to bringing one single woman so that he could meet all of these women and possibly meet a girlfriend. And she talks about how it didn't work the first time, but then they decided to have other get-togethers at his house and bring women with them to have mixers and enjoy themselves. And eventually he met the woman that he ended up with. Or he finally got himself a girlfriend. So I say all of that to say, no matter what we're up to, whatever it is that we want, whatever it is that we dream for ourselves, we have a lot more opportunity, and it's a lot more possible, it's a lot bigger when other people can be incorporated, when other people are there to suggest and collaborate and stand for us and offer things. So that's what I want to do. I feel like, granted, right, tonight we're a little bit of a small community, but for anybody who listens to the show later or watches the show later, I feel like that's something we can sort of put into practice. It's almost like the idea of a mastermind, or, like I have a business mastermind where it's like, it's all about marketing and that's what we do. But I feel like just in regular life, when people get together and they talk about what they're up to and what's important to them and, what they want in their lives, that people can really, hi Kenya, my Kenya's here. Ashley, what's up? People can really help each other. And I think that is sort of the crux of our human existence. Like what we can do for other people, how we can show up for other people, what support we can offer other people, how we help other people get to their dreams. And sometimes it takes nothing. Like it's just, we might have a resource that they don't have. Like, let's say someone says, I want to, work in tech out in Seattle. And it just so happens that someone else in the group is a hiring manager in Seattle for a tech company. And, with the internet, it's so wide and it's so possible for us to be able to help each other like that. So that's sort of the kind of the conversation that I want us to get into. And I don't know if you guys are game. I see my Jamie just joined. What's up, Jamie? I don't know if you guys are game for this, because I want you to really participate. I have a list of questions. These are the big questions. And it's going to be a little vulnerable. And I'm willing to answer them too. Like I said, I'm not going to ask you guys to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. But I want to ask you these questions and see who just wants to type in the comments and answer. And, I'll share your answer. And who knows, maybe somebody else Jamie says, I saw that TED Talk. Yes, ask and ye shall receive. Absolutely. Like, it's a community. It's a fantastic community thing. So, yeah, I'm going to just ask the questions and have the conversation rolling, and I'll share, and you guys can share what your answers are and what you think. And if, I'd like for you to share yourselves personally, because I think that that's how this thing works, right? I've been in groups of people where when I share what's really important to me, from my heart, then that's what people tend to connect to, and that's what people tend to want to support. So the first question is, what is something that you have always wanted to do? Like, even if it's something from when you were a kid, think about something that maybe you saw someone do it on TV, or you saw someone do it because you went on a school trip, a field trip, or something like that, and didn't necessarily pursue it, ended up maybe doing something else, but you just know in your heart that it's something that you always wanted to do. And I will go first because there's a delay, and in waiting for you guys to answer, and also I want to model, just going ahead and putting it out there. Something that I have always wanted to do is be a full-on stage performer, like triple threat singer, dancer, actor, just out there doing it. And over the course of my life, child to adult life, I probably did do it. Jennifer says she wants to write a mystery novel. You started it this week, and that's fantastic, Jennifer. You go, girl. I love that. That is fantastic. So, during the course of my life, there's been intermittent times where I've done it and I've gotten to do it, but then, day jobs got in the way, and I never really 100% committed to it, straight on through. So, it's not a regret or anything like that, but, if an opportunity were to come to work on my chops, get back in there and get back on stage. I used to be a singing bartender. I would probably definitely take it. Not because, I'm looking to be famous or anything like that. I just always loved entertaining and performing. And so it's something that's sort of in my blood. And, I feel like I have a natural talent for it, but when you're not doing it, you're not mastering your craft. But I would be willing to jump back in and start warming up the vocals. Jamie says she would do equine therapy. Wow. Jamie, I never knew that about you. That's amazing. See, you get to learn things about the people that you know and love. I had no idea. I mean, I think that that's great because I've heard a lot of really great things about equine therapy. I mean, I feel like any sort of animal connection, right, can be very healthy and healthful. And Jennifer says, Jamie, I know someone that I can connect you to. See? That's exactly what I'm talking about. When we have the willingness to just kind of share and say what's really true for us, there's always somebody who has some sort of in once they know what we're up to. And it's important. It's important to be. And Jamie says, oh my gosh, amazing. Now, those of you who are listening in the audio world, like I said, the number is 1-800-508-5431. So if you have a dream that you want to share, or if you hear somebody talking about something where you're like, oh, wait, here's a suggestion. I know a way you can do whatever. Feel free, because I have the phone right here, and I'll hold you to the mic, and you can tell whatever that is. So that's that for that question. You guys can answer as we go along. Don't feel like just because the question is passed, you can't put in an answer. But my next question is, whatever you guys do, because I know everybody has all their different careers and stuff like that. What would you consider to be the highest pinnacle of your career if you could get there? Or, maybe you've already gotten there. But what would you consider to be the absolute, you've actually, I don't want to say that you've made it, because I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I feel like we always can be, going to the next level and achieving the next thing and meeting the next desire. But what is that thing where you will just feel like, this is the top of the tops of what I went into this for. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm here. This is like the ultimate. My old day job, the pinnacle of my career, was to be working on a national talk show, which I got there. But, I got there and I realized that I really wanted much bigger pinnacles and things that I was much more emotionally involved with and things that meant a lot more to me. And so while I was having a lot of fun, I needed a career pinnacle that meant a lot to me. And right now, I've not hit the pinnacle of the career I'm in now as a love coach. I'm okay with that too, because I know that I'm in a process and in a journey. And I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. But the pinnacle of it would probably be having this podcast fully produced and reaching millions of people a year. And I'm not saying I won't be happy until that point. I'm already happy. I already feel successful, even if I'm only talking to 10 people a week. Like, that feels like success to me. The amount of people that I've helped and the amount of people that I continue to help, like, that feels really good to me. But if I were to say I've hit the pinnacle, I've released my book, I'm touching millions of people, I'm making a difference in millions of people's lives, and millions of people are having a much healthier romantic experience and a much healthier human experience based on, how I've touched them or helped them or, was in service to their lives in some way. So that's mine. I see my Rev Brown is here. What's up, Shanton, who joined? Shanton, the question right now is, what would you consider to be the highest pinnacle of your career? And you can speak in terms of, if you were to achieve it, what you're looking to achieve, and, what your career is and where you want to get with it. And those of you who are out in the audio world and, just listening in, it's okay if whether you share or not, it's still something that's worth thinking about. Like, where would you have to be for you to be like, this is the peak? And, whatever. Like I said, you get to the peak, you might still want to go higher, but, that's what we want to be sort of looking at. And the reason that I think it's important to be talking about it and to be looking at it and to make it part of the conversation is not to go into a space of I'm not there yet, or to put ourselves down for not having achieved a certain amount or any of that. It's to just honor our desires, because we're human beings, and that's part of the human experience, is to desire the next level, to desire more. And it doesn't have to always be financially more. It doesn't have to always be materially more. It doesn't necessarily have to always be achieving more. It might just be, I'll be at the pinnacle when I can sit back and relax and not have to worry about the bills or anything like that. So, that's the thing to share, because you never know if somebody out there is like, guess what? I have a beautiful resort in the Caribbean and I need someone to just keep an eye on it and babysit it for 6 months out of the year. You don't have to worry about paying any bills because your expenses will be paid for taking care of it. So, that's the kind of thing. Lee says, Shanton says, hey, gorgeous. Hi, honey. Lee says, career has changed for me. My pinnacle lies in quality of life, back quality in life, putting back quality in life. I love that, Lee. I think that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Shanton says, for me, it's to reach as many people as possible and have them receive Jesus as their Lord and Savior. I love that, Reverend Brown. That would be my pinnacle. I love that. Absolutely. And we all have our thing. We all have, what we're spiritually and emotionally connected to. Kenya says, I wanted to be a talent agent or a manager, and now I want to be a novel writer. Oh, Kenya, honey. You could definitely do that. And as a matter of fact, Kenya, along the lines of us trading ideas for the different things that we want to do, I know of a woman who's a novel writing coach, and she's very kind and very sweet, and I will definitely introduce you to her, or at least introduce you to her links and stuff like that, because I've only really dealt with her digitally, but I'm sure that, we could hook that up. And I always feel like with everything that we want to do, it's good to have some sort of mentor or coach, someone to help and lead us. She might be a really, really good person for you to be connected with and have contact with. And Jamie says, let's see, that's a good question. Not sure how to measure the success, but my lifestyle comes to mind. I'd like to change the corporate culture with more play and creative self-expression in the workplace. Oh, I love that. Making burnout a thing of the past. See, Jamie, I think that that's a fantastic goal. with your entrepreneurship, because that it's just such a common thing. And there's so many people that I know, and even when I was working, I wasn't really in a corporate arena, but just working in entertainment, anywhere where people have a demanding amount of hours, that burnout can settle in so quickly. And especially, I always talk about in New York, how so many people are in survival mode and just trying to maintain their lives, right? And so they need to get that check and working as hard as they can. And even long after their interest in the job has faded, it's like going through that cycle over and over again. And I think that what you offer, Jamie, with your play therapy, it's just like it's a freedom. It's an emotional freedom, because that is part of what I think has people get sick and run down and all of that stuff. And so that's a huge service to offer people. So if anybody knows anybody who like maybe works in a corporate climate, or needs to bring in speakers or people to bring health into a corporate climate, Jamie is your girl. If you're on here and you're listening and you're participating in this conversation, she's definitely somebody that you should talk to about that, because she has a whole curriculum. And Jamie's asking Kenya if she's writing already. That's a great question, Jamie. Kenya, hopefully you have begun, because I feel like it's all about beginning. And Jennifer says, love the live. I have to invite Jennifer. Thank you for being with us, honey. All right, so next question. And like I said, you guys can keep asking whatever questions you want to. Answering whatever questions you want to. But here's the next question. What's a big dream that you have for your family? Now, that's an interesting one for me. I don't know about you guys. I know some of you have kids, and some of you have relationships and no kids. Some of you have both. So, what is a big dream that you have for your family? I personally have not produced my own family as far as having kids and things like that, but I do have a lot of nephews and sisters and my parents, and then extended family. And a big dream that I have for my family is long-term generational financial abundance and stability. So what I want to be the catalyst of in my family is someone who starts something, a business, a passive income stream, starts something that provides that for generations of my family. So, any one of my nephews can come in and, once I pass away, can actually take it over and make sure that, everybody's children will always have the money to go to college. Everyone will always have health care. Everyone will always have what they need. We don't have to be like the Rockefellers or anything like that, although, I'm not going to say no to that. But just generational stability, having real estate, always having a place to live, that, when I leave this earth, my family and generations of my family are always taken care of. That's a huge dream that I have for my family. If anybody out there knows, ways that people have gone about doing that besides what I know to do, which is just continue building my business and develop my financial acumen and find ways to build passive income and build working income and all of that stuff. If anybody has any other suggestions or knows any sort of financial advisors that are good with that sort of thing, let me know. Whatever you know. Shanton says, to build my dream house. Take them there and ask them how they like it. Then proceed to take them through the home and tell them this is ours. That's beautiful, Shanton. Like, you just want to surprise your family, like on one of those reveal shows where it's like, this is ours. Especially if it's like, MTV Cribs, like a gorgeous place, right? And lots of amenities, and you want to be able to just give your family everything you can give them, right? Have them have comfort. It's a beautiful thing. Ashley says, success, money, and health. Yeah, absolutely, honey. I totally agree with that. I feel like all of us, just, by nature of being human, it's like we want for our family to have the best of whatever they can have, right? And whatever ways we can do that. Kenya says, I want for my kids to know what they want to become and to work hard and achieve their goals. That's totally doable. That's a big, beautiful dream. And I'm sure that there's somebody out there that can also support with that dream too. Lee says, family, time to enjoy my kids, adult lives, and my future grandchildren, mature gracefully, and celebrate their young lives. Yeah, absolutely. Have them have some joy. Deborah says, hey, love. Hi, honey. I'm glad that you joined us. Kenya says, yes, Candice, and for them all to be financially secure. Jamie says, for my family, I'd like to lift all debt and financial burden. I'd love to be able to fly them out to wherever I am anytime, no problem. Yes, I love that. And also like to be able to take them on trips and stuff like that too. My big thing has always been the Mediterranean cruise. I always say like, all the people, especially for during the times I've been building my business, all the people that were like there at the ground level and being able to like collect my family together and just go on a Mediterranean cruise and just enjoy the sunshine and be happy and just, live that kind of life, even just for a short period of time or whatever, to be able to have that kind of freedom to do that when you want to, I just think would be an amazing thing. Deborah says, word on that dream. Those of you out in audio land on Armed Radio, hopefully you guys are thinking about that. What is a big dream that you have for your family? If you're not sharing it here, make sure that you're sharing it somewhere. You're sharing it with some people that you know. Make sure that you're getting the word out about it. Because there's going to be somebody who is going to know how to tell you how to get there. It's all possible when we're willing to just be open and share and connected to what it is we want. So here's the next question. Is there somewhere that you have always wanted to go? That's the question I'm putting out to everyone. So as far as big dreams go, is there somewhere in the world where it's like, yeah, you've always wanted to go there, you always wanted to make a trip, and for me there's probably about 50 places at least. But I would say for right now, I mentioned earlier like a cruise in the Mediterranean, because there's a lot of, I'd love to go to Greece and Turkey and Italy and just do that whole but also the Maldives, like Coco Island. I know Coco Island is like the more popular one, and there's other like beautiful islands too. But right now, the Maldives would be so fantastic to be able to go there. And I actually do have a friend who just started a travel company not too long ago, and she's been working in travel and entertainment for a long time, and she knows like everything about putting together luxury packages and how to make that happen, and what kind of solutions to come up with to be able to have a nicer trip than you might actually be able to afford. And she's really good at like figuring all that stuff out. On top of that, she's helping with a possible away intensive that I want to do, or a retreat type thing that I want to do. So put in, okay, so Shanton says Brazil. Yes, honey. Who wouldn't want to go to Brazil? I mean, there's like, you go down to that little tip. It's supposedly the beaches are so beautiful. The women are so beautiful. It's a fantastic place to be, I've heard. I've never been there before, but that would be an awesome place to go. And who knows who out there who's listening, who's paying attention, has avenues for going to Brazil, and who wants to share about that. Let us know. Kenya says, I know what you mean. I really want to be able to spoil them rotten. Oh, she's talking about the family thing. Then again, I know that their true reward will come from them being able to do it for themselves. That is true, Kenya. It's good for them to be able to dream for themselves too. But I feel like you can want it without, enabling and allowing them to grow and do it for themselves. Lee says, I want a home in the Caribbean. I'm with you on that, Lee. We should make a pact that no matter what's happening after we get to a certain age, we're going to retire down there and start a store with sundries and items and supplies or some sort of like cocktail shack on the beach. And there's this show that comes on HGTV my housemates love to watch, and I forget what it's called, but it's all about like homes on the beach. Because a lot of people want to live on the beach. Jamie says, for my family, I would like to lift all debt and financial burden. Oh yeah, I read this one. I'd love to be able to fly them out wherever I am anytime. What else? Who else? Okay, so yeah, go ahead and type in where you want to go, what trips you want to take. I mean, there's places that I was when I was young that I would love to go back to as an adult. And there's just a lot of places that I've never seen. I know right now what's really big is Thailand. I'd love to go to Thailand. I'd love to go to Dubai. Those are all places that are like in my, they're on my vision board. They're in my future plan. Like, I'm definitely holding a space. Lee says, that's the plan. Sell coconuts to tourists. I love it, honey. Like having a great house in the Caribbean and selling coconuts to tourists. I am not mad at that. My only concern would be hurricane season. But, whatever. I guess there's workarounds. What with climate change, I feel like hurricanes are getting a little worse, but I'm not trying to shit on your dream. Because I want to do the same thing. I feel like, we just have to make it happen. Somebody out there knows how to make that happen. All right, so the next question. What is a legacy that you want to leave behind when you die? What do you want to be your legacy when you leave this earth? What do you guys think about that? What do you want people? And it's funny because in my intensive, I have a little section that is about that. It's about like, what do people say about me at my funeral? And the idea is just to get really clear on who you want to have been once you leave this earth. Some people don't give a shit, but I think that when you get sort of present to that while you're still alive, it helps to have sort of a guideline for, how am I showing up now? And does that align with who I say that I want to be? When I'm gone, when I leave this earth. And Kenya says, for the travel question, she says she wants to travel to Japan, Korea, Prague, and England. I love all those places. I'm coming with you. I know that for me, as far as legacy is concerned, I want for people to come to my funeral and say that I'm someone who brought joy to other people, that I'm someone who supported people in being able to laugh at life, laugh at themselves, find the comedy in everything, and just not take life so seriously. I want my legacy to be someone who got people out of the space of thinking that life was something that was happening to them, and rather inspired people to live a life that is by their design and by their choice, and based on that that none of this is real. It's like a play that we're living in. We're souls running around in these human suits, and just this is about play. And I think the fact that people think that life is this dire, dastardly thing, and we're so convinced that we are what life does to us in so many ways, it causes a lot of misery. So I want my legacy to be, once I'm gone, I want the legacy to be that she is someone who taught me how to find joy. She's someone who taught me how to be powerful and make choices that had me living my life the way that I wanted to live it, and living it to its fullest, and knowing that I'm here to play and not suffer, and to have a good time. I'm not here to be a victim of everything that happens to me and everything that happens around in the world. And I know that when you say that, or when I say that, sometimes people's reaction is, but there's serious things that happen that it's difficult for people to get past. And I'm not discounting anybody's pain or suffering, or definitely not people who don't live in a first world country that have as much as those of most of us who are listening have, just by the fact that we have a computer to be listening to this. I'm not discounting people who actually go through really serious suffering, but I think the only reason people go through really serious suffering is because collectively as a people there is a belief that suffering is a part of life, and so we cause it for each other, and a lot of times we ignore it when other people are going through it. And I think it's possible without, now I'm going down this whole road, and I'm not going to get on the soapbox, people, I promise. All I'm saying is that when I leave, I want my legacy to be that someone who came here to bring joy and happiness and make people smile, and just even for a moment helps people to live their lives in a happy, powerful way. Jamie says, I just want to leave a wake of kindness behind me, and maybe that I help someone at some point, and also to leave a legacy of play and lightness. See, Jamie, that's why you and I are friends, because I think that that's very similar, and I think play and lightness is very important. Ashley says, I want my legacy to be a happy, well-adjusted child, and to be an innovator. Yeah, and you are, Ashley. Honey, you are, and you have a happy, well-adjusted child. Absolutely. Jamie said, you do that for me, Candice. Your legacy already exists. Oh, thank you, honey. You'll make me cry. You do that for me, too. And I think that's very important. It's very important to have people in our lives that pull us out of the seriousness and, let us know that, first of all, whatever it is we are going through, we feel like we're going through, there's a whole bunch of other people that are going through it, too. And, that it's not terminal, and nothing ever lasts for very long. So, I think it's important. Kenya says, I want to be known for always being a good person, and for others to say that I did something for them that made them feel loved and special. I love that. You do that. You absolutely do that, Kenya. You do that for me. So I love you, girl. I love my peeps. Oh, I see Hannah joined. Hi, my sweetheart. My Hannah joined. All right. So are we ready to go to the next question? I feel like we are. This hour goes by so fast. We're already at 40 minutes. I can't believe it. And I think I'm barely like halfway through the questions. And I have big announcements. I have big announcements for the end of the show, people. So the next question is, what is a big social cause that you want to create a solution for? Like, there's so many out there, right? There's so many social causes. There's so many things that, require some sort of shift, some sort of transformation, some sort of change right now. What is one that you feel like is a big one for you that's really important to you? If I could make a major shift in a social situation, I think the first one that I would go for is, I have two really. Making sure that every single human being has clean air and drinking water. Like, to me, the tragedy of this world is that there are so many people that don't have access to clean drinking water. And, clean drinking water is so imperative to our health. I'm not going to go on a long soapbox, diatribe about it. I'm just saying that's, if there's something that I could do to instantly solve that, and there are things that I could do to be part of the solution for that. But if I could wave a magic wand and have that be something that, takes on a major change, there would be so many less thirsty children, and, people would just have clean air and clean drinking water. It wouldn't even be a question. Like, that's just the way it would be. And then the other one for me would be racism and dealing with racism. I would have people stop believing in the lie of white supremacy. And, I say that not saying that there's some other supremacy, just if people stop believing in the lie of any sort of human supremacy, but, specifically because of the history of our world, I believe the lie of white supremacy has been the dangerous lie, and it's dangerous for people of color to buy into it, and it's dangerous for white people to buy into it. And if that lie could be dispelled, if that myth could go away, and there could be an understanding that we're so much stronger when we help each other, when we support each other, and it doesn't matter what color we are. If there was something that I could do, some magic wand that I could wave that would have that lie disappear after thousands and thousands of years and generations of people buying into that lie, I feel like that would be an amazing it would just be an amazing social difference to make. Shanton says that everyone would treat each other with love. Unconditional love spreads throughout the world. I love that, Shanton. I talk about unconditional love all the time. A lot of times people look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, because, we're so much in judgment culture and like who's right and who's wrong. And we're always in that conversation and judging other people, why they do what they do and how they do what they do. And, holding back with love and I'm not going to give until they give. And, and I always say the most important thing that we can be able to do is fill ourselves up so we can overflow into other people. And when we do that, when we offer ourselves unconditional love, it's so easy to offer it to other people because we don't require other people to have to be anything for us to then love them, for us to be okay with them. That just releasing that, I was working with, because I have a couple clients that are actual couples. So, both people I work with at the same time, and we were in session, and I said to them, one of the most toxic things that can happen in a relationship is when we have an expectation that that person be better before we can be better. It's codependent, it's toxic. So whatever it might be that you're trying to improve about that other person, or whatever expectation that you're setting, when we need for that person to meet up to our expectation for us to be happy, or for us to be okay, or for us to stop nagging them or hurting them or whatever, that is not unconditional love, and it's very, very toxic. But we're not taught that unconditional love is okay, that it's okay to love someone even if they're not meeting up to your every single standard. And it's okay to love someone that you can't be in the same space with, and go ahead and walk away, take care of yourself, let them take care of themselves. And you can love someone up close, and you can love someone from afar. But, we're in such a culture of adversity and judgment, and somebody's got to be wrong so that I can be right. And someone's got to be right because I feel wrong. Yeah, I know. You guys, I tend to soapbox. Kenya says, I want to be known for always being a good person. But, oh yeah, I got that already. For others to say I did something for them that made them feel loved and special. Yes, honey, you definitely do that. And yeah, I love that about unconditional love, Shanton. You sent me down a rabbit hole. So I want to do a few more questions. We only have a few more minutes to do the questions because I really do want to get to the big announcements, because there's a couple things that I think you guys might be interested in. Also, for all the different things people have been talking about, if anything has come up for you where you can see yourself throwing some support to somebody else, by all means, feel free to do that. And also feel free to do that even after the conversation is over and we're no longer live, because we keep this thread open and I'll be talking to you guys later. So here's the next question. Have you ever thought about running for office? Anybody out there? I feel like for anybody, especially in this current political climate, for anybody out there who is considering the possibility of running for office, you will definitely find support, whether it's through this forum or whatever different forums, wherever you share your political views. If you are someone who, has that interest. I'm not someone who is, I pay attention just because I like to kind of know what's going on in the world, but I'm not someone who's highly emotionally invested in politics per se. I mean, I definitely feel like a lot of change is necessary, but I'm a little cynical about the political system in general. So I don't know that I necessarily would ever want to run for office. And they say that those of us who are dissatisfied are the ones that should be looking towards those goals to affect change. But, I just don't have a dog in that fight, to quote the great and the amazing purple one, Prince Rogers Nelson. I just don't feel like when it comes to politics, there are things that I support and there are things that I agree with. But, in the grand fight of it, I don't have a dog in that fight. And I'll tell you why, because I feel like there's such a greater, higher power at play. And I feel like nothing ever changes as far as, what's affected politically anyway. And I know that sounds sort of like cynical, but I don't know. I don't have any great aspirations as far as running for office. Jamie says, no way, Jose. No political office is calling my name. I hear that, honey. Like, it just, I love being a leader, and I feel like that's important. I love being a, someone who stands for change, transformation, all of that stuff. I just don't know that political office is the best avenue in the climate that we live in and in the society we live in order to affect real change. Lee says, I've never been good at winning elections. So Lee, have you run in any elections? You can tell us, maybe local ones. Those of you who've been listening to the show, Lee and I have known each other since we were in, I want to say 5th or 6th grade. So I don't know. Lee, I know that you're in Pennsylvania. I don't, maybe in a smaller election. I don't know if you've ever been involved. Let us know if you were. I'm imagining, since you said you've never been good at winning them, that maybe there's a few that you've lost. I don't know what you ran for. I know Wayne Kress, who is from our area, runs for sheriff. Hopefully he's going to get that. He's going to win in that local election. I don't know about the running for office. Is there an education level that you have always wanted to reach but have put off? Does anybody out there have an education level that is like, there's part of them that really wants to get there or wanted to get there and put it off, procrastinated, didn't make it happen? I actually would love to be a PhD. I would love to have a PhD in psychology, which I think that I could, but I'd have to go back because most of my background does not, I don't know that the credits would count. I have a master's in design for theater, film, and television, and even though there is a level of, psychological, emotional learning that goes along with that, I don't know that would apply to any specific program, but it is, something that I would like to achieve, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I put it off, because it's not like, actually, let me not even lie. I did. I put it off. I've done other things, paid bills, had day jobs, and then, started my coaching business and put a whole lot of other things in front of it. But I definitely would still do it. I feel like as long as we're alive, we still have time for that sort of thing. Do any of you guys have any sort of educational aspirations that you've put off and that you would like to now pursue in the very near future? Feel free to share that, because you never know who's going to be looking at it later and be like, I know this great program and you can get this really great scholarship because of where you're from or whatever your age is or whatever. That's why we're doing all this sharing. Let me see. Here's the thing. This is going to be the last question because I do want to share the big announcements with you guys. And I want to make sure we don't run out of time. If we have time at the end, I'll go back. What would your dream love life be like if you could wave a magic wand? And I know that's like, from all the questions we've been doing, it's a little bit of a non sequitur, but I'm a love coach, so I always got to get back to the love conversation. If you could just wave a magic wand. Jamie says, I'm anti-education. Just kidding. I know that you're kidding, Jamie. I know you're not anti-education. We're all here to learn, right? Anyway, if you could wave a magic wand and just have it be exactly what you want, what would your dream love life be? I love this question because I do spend a lot of time thinking about this sort of thing, and it makes me feel happy. Lee is giving me like the wide-eyed emoji, like the crazy face. I don't know, what is that face, Lee? Like, when you think, is it the dream love life question, or is it Jamie joking about being anti-education? I don't know. I can tell you guys this in all vulnerability. My absolute dream love life would be being with someone who is down for adventure and wants to travel the globe and try different things and is fun and fun-loving and doesn't take anything too seriously. We're financially free together and we're just here to explore the globe. There's this really cute little YouTube couple where they both do yoga. They're like two little yogis. I don't necessarily need, I do yoga on my own, whatever, but I wouldn't need to do yoga with my partner. But they travel the entire world, and their whole job is running this YouTube channel where they just travel the world and do yoga in beautiful places and eat really healthy food and experience the world. And that is definitely, if I was just going to wave a magic wand, that's exactly who my partner is. Somebody who's just highly adventurous and sexual and fun and wants to travel and, just is a yes for things, is a yes for life, has a zest for life, is excited to be here, excited to do things, and just not mired in the minutia like so many of us are. Deborah says, love adventure, right? Like when you meet someone who's adventurous and wants to do things, it's like, it's fun. It's a good thing. And I feel like, for me with, not having kids and stuff like that, there's no, even if I did, by this time they would be grown. Well, if I would have around the time that I was going to, they wouldn't be, but I would take children with me. And I get it. All the parents out there are like, oh, that's not so easy, whatever. But I know a lot of people that do it. It's possible. People do it all the time. So whatever. My dream love life would be with someone who just wants to like enjoy life to its fullest. And that's more important than anything else. Like, that's what they make priority, is living in their purpose and enjoying their life. We can do that together. Anyway, I think it's time for the big announcements. You guys can answer. Lee says, a companion that shares interests, smart and sassy, wants me in their life but doesn't need me. Professional, compassionate, holds my hand, explores, lives hard, loves harder. Yes, honey, I love it. Jamie says, Tristan and I just talked about taking off spontaneously and going to the airport and just picking our destination right there. One day. Yes, honey, absolutely one day. I could totally see you and Tristan doing that. Okay, so, and you guys can keep answering because I'm going to come back later even after we're done and be talking to you. Big announcement number one. So a friend of mine reached out to me and she's casting for a pilot, and she says that she's looking for singles. Nothing salacious, not like what is that one with the Romance Island, not like The Bachelor or anything like that. It's nothing, it's not that sort of thing. But basically she's looking for outgoing, attractive singles between the ages of 30 to 45. They've tried the dating apps, they've been set up by friends, etc. The show is interactive, like the dating game meets FaceTime, she calls it. It brings the dating app to life. Participants get $100 and the chance to possibly meet someone. Plus, they can do it from the comfort of their own home. So, the digital age, that's what dating's all about, apparently. It's all via video chat, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, etc. It's taping on Tuesday, April 16th in the evening. One guy and one woman will have a day date. And I guess that will be taped on Monday, the 15th, and it's a 2-hour commitment. So anybody out there who's single and interested, it doesn't matter where you are, because apparently it's digital, although I don't know if maybe you have to be there for the Monday taping, but reach out anyway. So I'm going to give you the email, and I'll also put it in the comments on Facebook. But for those of you listening in the audio, the email is AZAMEL, so Azamel is her name, AZAMEL, castings, plural, CASTINGS, @gmail.com. If you think that you'd be right for this and you'd be one of the singles that she's looking, I know that Deborah says that age range. I know she's looking for 30 to 45. I know there's a lot of us who are a little bit out of that range, and that's okay, because we have our own ways. And actually most of us, because she asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, I was like, if you have a role for a relationship expert or a host or something like that, I would do that. And it's not because I would never date on camera. I actually don't have a problem with dating on camera, because I like to meet people anyway. But there's just something about dating shows that I'm like, I don't know if I want to go in that direction where I'm a participant. But there's nothing wrong with it if you do. And you can make $100 if she casts you in this. So if you want to, reach out. That's big announcement number one. Big announcement number two, which I talked about earlier, and I definitely want you guys to get involved with this, because I want you guys to be referring people to me. Number one, the spring series, I'm going to be continuing my guest expert series, where I go and set up shop with people every Monday night and just do interviews with different guest experts. So far, I have love coach Mike Goldstein, who's coming up. We're going to have a chat tomorrow to figure out what Monday he's coming on. Dr. Benjamin Ritter from Chicago, and he's, I believe, a motivational speaker, and he's got some good stuff on relationships and things like that. And Darius Brown from Atlanta, who's a motivational speaker and a sales and marketing coach. But the biggest news is that you guys know that in the summertime, I do a summer series. Last summer was the summer of sexploration. And this summer is going to be the summer, the badass bachelor summer. Because I'm tired of people like touting that the statistics about there not being good men out there and all that bullshit. You know, for me, I believe that our experience is what we believe our experience is going to be. And that we said, we only got 1 minute with the armed radio people, that we set our own destiny when it comes to dating. So I want to prove and show over the summer that there's a lot of really great men out there. And, it's really about this community thing, where when we just know about them and we share as communities, we get to know, who's out there and what's possible for us. We got to be open, though. You can't be walking around just insisting that there's not enough out there. It's a lack mentality. Lack mentality never gets anything. Armed Radio Global, I love you guys. I know you got to go pretty soon. Facebook people, we got a couple more minutes. Just remember, or never forget, that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you're not getting enough, just make more and ask for Candy. I love you so much for being with us. The Facebook people, don't you go anywhere just yet, because I want to finish. Let's see, and then